Hello, good morning. Happy Sunday, beautiful people. It is so very good to be with you here on this Sunday as we gather together for the weekend service to celebrate the magnificence and significance of the presence and power of God operating in, through, and as each and every one of us. Let's begin, as we always do, with prayer. And we're going to ground ourselves with a reading today from the Daily Word. The word today is resilient, and the affirmation, courageous and strong, I am resilient. Everyone who gets knocked down from time to time has the choice whether to give up or get up. Getting up and gathering the strength and desire to try again is resilience. Spiritual living helps me build it. Claiming divine ideas in prayer, engaging the power of my imagination to envision my success, and using my wisdom and will to discern the best way forward and choose, it all help me be resilient in the face of defeat or discouragement. Through the power of the Christ within, I am willing to keep trying until I succeed. I understand setbacks happen to everyone. I do not let them deter me or take a failed effort personally. I am strong and capable of doing what I set my mind to. I am resilient. And again, the affirmation, courageous and strong. I am resilient. And so from this place of awareness, I invite you to get still, get still, get still. Stop what you're doing. Close your eyes and let's take a breath in together. And we breathe out. Let's breathe in. And we breathe out. Sinking deeper in mind and bringing the focus of our attention here and now, we breathe in. And out. There is only one mind, one power, one presence that is working in all, through all, and as all. There is one source. There is one life. That life is Mother, Father, God. That life is perfect, whole, and complete. And that life is my life now. And that life is your life now. And that life is all life now. That life is the life of every being, every human, every animal, every plant, every tree, every insect. It is the life of all, and it is our life now. It is the life of the galaxy. It is the life of the planets, the moons, the stars. It is the life of every molecule, every cell. It is the life of every element. It is the life of all. It is my life now. It is your life now. I remember and recognize that God is, and God is right here, right now. I remember and recognize that Source is, and Source is right here, right now. I remember and recognize that love is, and love is right here, right now. For God itself can neither come nor go. It is always and only here, and always and only now. God is here now, and now, and now, and now. It is with you and within you. It is with us and within us. And so as we recognize this powerful truth, we recognize and remember and unify our hearts and our minds, knowing that we are one with God and one of God. Knowing that we are individualized, particularized, undivided expressions, unique expressions of the all in all. And there is nothing that can change us. The power that empowers your heart is God power. The flow that is flowing through your veins is God flow. The thing that allowed you to get up this morning is the get up goodness that is God. We are one with God and one of God, and there is nothing that can change or alter that. So we recognize that because we are one with God, we have great power. We recognize that because we are one with God, we have great possibility. We recognize because we are one with God, we have great potential. And so it is out of this awareness that I speak this word of faith on my behalf and on behalf of every soul that is listening right here and right now. As we gather together for the weekend service, we gather together in joy. We gather together with gratitude. We gather together knowing that we will leave here better than when we walked in, better and better and better again. We recognize that we will leave here enlightened. We will leave here enlivened. We will leave here prosperous and prospering. We will leave here with exactly what we need that will support us in moving through this week with confidence, resilience, absolute faith, absolute knowing, because we recognize who and whose we are and and we recognize the power that we possess. So I am so grateful and thankful for all the souls that have gathered and are co-creating this moment together. I am grateful and thankful for the power and presence of Celebration Spiritual Center that continues to be a lighthouse and a beacon of love on this planet. And so with joy and thanksgiving, we now release this prayer. I release it back into the law, which is always an operation, responding and becoming according to the pattern of thought that we have provided. This pattern of thought that we have provided today, it is loving, it is life-giving, it is creative, it is constructive, it is life-supporting, it is healing. So it must be. From this place of awareness, we now, with gladness, lift up our voices and say, Amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
And so it must be. Well, hello again. Good morning. I'm Pastor Greg.
I'm Pastor Yolanda.
And we are so very happy to be here with you on another Sunday for another weekend service as we, as I said, celebrate the magnificence and significance of the presence and power of God operating in, through, and as we embody this truth and make it the truth of our lives so that we can live our greatest lives. If you are a first-time guest, hello, welcome. We're so happy that you're here. We're so happy that someone or something brought you here to this live stream. And we're confident that today you will receive something. You will receive something empowering, and you will receive something that will support you in thriving in your life. Now, if you feel led to, we encourage you to let us know in the comments where you're connecting in from, whether your city, your state, your country. You may find that there are others connected right here and now in the same space that you are. It's not a requirement, but it's always wonderful to connect in that way. Now, the information you see here on your screen is how you access your digital connection card. This is your way to stay in touch with us and our way to stay in touch with you. All you have to do is text the keyword welcome to that phone number, 347-472-1078. Again, text the keyword welcome to 347-472-1078. You'll receive an automated reply with a link. Click that link, enter your information. We just need your name and your email address. Submit that, and you're all set. You'll receive a follow-up text that says you're all set. You'll be on our mailing list. You'll receive our weekly newsletter that goes out every Friday, and of course, any other correspondence that we share with the community. Now, most importantly, what we love to say is the first time you come to CSC, you're a guest, but when you come back, you're family. So we welcome you to the CSC family, and we trust that something powerful will meet you today and bring you back again. So from this place of awareness, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to tap into our news and updates so that we can move forward with the meditation and with our masterclass. We are in masterclass mode this summer. We are studying Open Your Mind to Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. If you're just joining us for the very first time, we encourage you to get the book. You won't need the book today because we're going to be sharing the book on the screen, the text on the screen, but it is available in print and digital formats, and we trust that you will get it at some point because this is a text that you really want to have in your spiritual, metaphysical library. Our companion series to go along with the masterclass this month is the 7 Habits of Prosperous People. Many of you may remember this sermon series, and this is a wonderful series to align with what we've been studying all summer and to support you to move forward as we complete the masterclass in a few weeks. What are the 7 Habits of Prosperous People? 1, surrender. You need to get under the influence of divine intelligence and stay in the realm of the answer. 2, imagine. Think in miracles and use God's gift of imagination to shape your world. 3, believe. Move from belief to knowing. Make your good inevitable. 4, forgive. Understand that it's not you, but the power of God through you that forgives. 5, give. Step into the overflow by giving of your time, talent, and treasure. 6, pray. Engage in a movement of mind toward a definite end using spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. And 7, receive. Open your hands, prepare your life, and allow the good that's seeking you to find you. And so this is going to be our study series for this month and next month, because again, I recognize that this is a wonderful stepping off point as we end the masterclass in a few weeks, to answer the question, what's next? What now? How do I continue to live these principles? How do I embody these principles? Every third Sunday is God Talk Sunday. The God Talk is your opportunity to ask questions. Your God Talk is your opportunity to get support as you're walking this New Thought metaphysical path. Now, if you're new to New Thought or new to metaphysical principles, you may find that there are lots of things that you're unlearning, lots of things that you're coming up against that you may have thought before, or you may have believed before, or you may have been taught before, and now they're coming into question. And so the God Talk is a wonderful space to ask those questions and receive guidance and support from myself and PY. You also may be on this path for a while and you just are dealing with a challenge, you're dealing with an opportunity, and you want support in applying what we teach here at CSC to what you're experiencing. All questions are welcome. No question is off limits, but you got to be in the space to ask the question. And so we gather together and on Zoom every third Sunday. Again, so that's next Sunday is God Talk Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time after our weekend service. The Zoom link and password is shared with everyone on our mailing list. And also, if you've downloaded the Church Center app, there's a link there with all the information. I'll tell you in a bit how you can access the Church Center app and get that information quickly. Every fourth Sunday is the Healing Sunday. We know that prayer works. It is working at CSC, and we are happy to be very intentional about healing and the healing of folks in our community. We are seeing powerful healing, and we're receiving so many testimonies and prosperity reports of healing within our community. And so we continue to hold the highest knowing that healing is available, and it's available for each and every one of you. If you are in need of healing, you want to be here on the fourth Sunday. If you know someone who's in need of healing, you want to invite them to be here on the fourth Sunday. Or you can stand in proxy for them, knowing the highest and best for them, that healing is available, healing is happening, and it is no respecter of persons. Labor Day weekend, CSC will be closed. So on Sunday, August 31st, we will not be having service. We trust that you will enjoy that last unofficial weekend of summer and enjoy yourself in whatever way feels good to you and whatever brings you joy, refreshment, rejuvenation, all that good stuff. If you have a prayer request, we encourage you to email that prayer request to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. We are always holding the highest and best for every person, every beautiful soul within the CSC community. And we recognize that you may have a specific prayer request. You may have something that you're seeking support or guidance around, and so you can submit that prayer request. You can also submit a request on behalf of someone else, again, to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. And after you submit that request, see yourself casting that burden on the mind of God and going free, making yourself available and receptive to answers, to guidance, to wisdom, to clarity, to your next step. Every Wednesday morning, we gather together for the Momentum Prayer Call at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Momentum Prayer Call is a wonderful way to continue the momentum that we create here on Sunday and also to jumpstart your momentum on Wednesday mornings in the middle of the week and to be intentional about your thoughts, intentional about your mind, and thus intentional about your day. We gather together on the call, we share reading, we pray, we move on with our day. If you're unable to make that call, you can always access the most recent prayer via the playback number. Every prayer is recorded, and so you have access to the power of affirmative prayer anytime that you need it, 24/7. Just use the playback number, enter the access code, and the wait, and the most recent prayer will play. I mentioned that you can access the God Talk information in the Church Center app. You can actually access so much more information. You could be watching this live stream right now from the Church Center app. You can give via the app, sign up for events, and connect with the CSC community. We encourage everyone to download the app. You can use this QR code. If you're not familiar with how to use a QR code, just open your camera app, hold it up to the screen, and a link will appear. If you're actually watching this on your device right now, then just take a screenshot of the QR code and you can, it'll take you there to the download link, or you can just go directly to the Google Play Store or App Store, download the Church Center app, and again, you'll find information to stay connected with CSC, information on how to access the Momentum Prayer Call, the God Talk, and also ways to connect with the CSC community. And that concludes our news and updates for this Sunday, which means we now get to go within and move into the posture of meditation, to the consciousness of meditation, as we are led in the meditation experience with PY.
Yes, it's time for the meditation experience. We called it the meditation experience before day one because we knew we wanted to create an opportunity within service for us to pause and not just hear words or affirm words, but to feel God alive within ourselves for ourselves. Because you can read all the sacred texts, and we obviously want you to do that. But it is only through that direct experience that you know the words you're reading are true. And that's how you build up the faith, is by knowing, not necessarily by doing. So we take time every Sunday to go within, to tap into that inner sanctum, that inner sanctuary of goodness where God resides. You see, it's never left you or I or any of us. It's always available, whether we are at a high point or what we perceive as a low point. God is always there. God is always there. And so we can take comfort in that knowing. We can let that comfort take us into meditation if we choose. Our affirmative thought is becoming one of my favorites. Divine love prospers me now. Many times when we think about prosperity, we think about it as an end result of achieving something. But this affirmation reminds us that it's a current vibration, that it's based in love, moving from love as love within us. It prospers us now. We don't have to have the answers. We just allow it to do its thing, which is prospering us now. Doesn't that get you excited? Okay, I'm not supposed to be excited at this point, but doesn't it get you into the vibration of experiencing God, knowing that this God is divine love and it prospers you now? Let's take that energy into our meditative time. Let's use that to expand our breath and our awareness of where God is and what God is and how God moves. So, plant your palms on your tops of your thighs. Briefly look around the room, noticing where you are, that you're present. You're not even in 2 seconds ago about what I said. You can come back to that. You're right here, right now. And right here, right now is all the safety and a knowingness that you need. And right here and right now is where God is, where divine love is. And right here and right now is where it's prospering you. Not because you have to wait and do certain things, but because divine love prospers me now. Palms on the tops of the thighs. Allow the eyelids to gently close. And as we do so, we take our focus off of the external world and we bring it completely within ourselves, where it always is, where divine love is. And we just notice the breath right here, right now. And whether the breath appears to be deep or appears to be shallow, it matters not. We make no judgments of the breath. We just are in gratitude that the breath is moving, that God is flowing on the breath, that divine love is prospering every breath. And let's take conscious control of the breath now. Let's send that breath deep into the low belly. So take your focus of attention and your energy and divine love and let it drop nice and deep into the low belly. And we're going to breathe for a count of 4 on the inhale. Hold for a count of 4. Relax the jaw, release whatever we're holding for a count of 4. And then settle in and sink deeper and deeper and deeper for a count of 4. Let's begin. Inhale, expand the low belly. Hold for 4. Relax the jaw, relax the body, sigh it out. And at the edge of that exhale, we sink deeper and deeper and deeper. Nice inhale again into the low belly, dropping the breath. Inhale. And hold. Relax the jaw, let yourself hear the release and feel it in your body. Sigh it out. Sinking deeper and deeper and deeper. In through the low belly, now connecting low breath to mid breath, expanding the sides of the body, filling up with breath. And hold. Relax the jaw, let yourself hear and feel the release, sigh it out. And sinking deeper into that energy of relaxation, and deeper in mind, and deeper. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, we've expanded the sides. Now let's expand the front and the back, finding more places for breath. Hold it there. And as we release the breath, we hear the sound, we give body permission to relax as well. Sigh it out. Sinking deeper into the chair where you sit or the sofa where you sit. Deeper and deeper and deeper. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, now allowing the breath to rise to the heart. Center of the chest, that energy of the heart chakra. Hold it there. Relax the jaw. If there's any sensation of tension, as you release the breath, just let it all go. Sigh it out. Sinking deeper in mind, deeper and deeper. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, and up to and through the heart. Allowing the breath to rise. Hold at the top. And without collapsing the body, release the breath and sink deeper in awareness as you are held by divine love. Sink deeper and deeper. Now let's slow it way down, giving our nervous system time to register all of this breath and connection. Reminding our body and our minds that we are held and that God is here. Divine love is prospering every breath. We're going to inhale for a count of 6, hold for 6, close the lips and exhale through the nostrils for 6. And then, because there's no urgency around the relaxation, we relax and sink deeper for 6. Let's begin. Inhale. Hold. And with the lips closed, slow the breath way down. Exhale through the nostrils for 6. And as that breath trails off, the energy of support and God's love is here. Sinks deeper and deeper into your awareness, relaxes your body more. Go ahead and scan your body and just notice if there's still any tension anywhere. We make no judgment of what the body is doing or the mind is doing. We just send the loving breath there so that we can relax. Take a few rounds of deep breath here. And as you breathe in and out through the nostrils, the body will relax and follow. Divine love prospers me now. Divine love heals me now. Divine love nourishes me now. Divine love guides me now. This posture of receptivity is what we are after and what we allow. I will monitor the time. You take the inward journey. If the mind wanders, it is perfectly okay. It's just doing what it does. If you become aware that the mind is wandering or active, place no judgment. Just be kind to your wandering mind. And when you become aware, bring yourself back to the affirmative thought. Divine love prospers me now, in whatever way that means. It does it now, and I allow it now. Divine love prospers me now. Divine love prospers you now. Divine love prospers us all now. With our eyelids still closed, we enjoy this time of deep connection, of receptivity, and of God's love. It is divine, and it is always available. With our eyelids still closed, we take the mental picture and feel the vibration so that we can return with it and take it into our active living. Let us begin the return now, nice and easy. And palms on the tops of the thighs. Inhale, draw the shoulders up by the ears. Inhale, releasing the shoulder blades back and down. Inhale up. Nice full breath. Slowly release the shoulder blades back and down. And last time. Inhale up. Exhale, releasing the shoulder blades back and down. Bring the palms together at heart center. And if you're able, bow the chin towards the fingertips. No strain. Just relax, an opening feeling at the base of the neck all the way down the spine. And when you're ready, gently allow the eyelids to open. Finding something familiar to focus in on, but with a soft gaze, no strain. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze. Exhale the breath. Maintain the peace. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, PY.
You're welcome.
As always, you can access the meditation again and again and again on our YouTube channel or in the Church Center app. It is streamed live every Monday, and then there's a playlist there of all of the meditations from this year and last year so that you can access that vibration and use that in your practice as you see fit. Well, we are in masterclass mode and we are studying the book, Open Your Mind and Prosperity. So if you're just joining us, Open Your Mind and Prosperity by Catherine Ponder is the book that we've been studying this summer. You can feel free to get a copy for yourself. We'll be sharing the text of the book on the screen, so you don't need that today. I want to check in with you all and want to know how you've been embodying and practicing the love concept as we talked about last week. What's showing up? You can share it in the comments. Let us know who you've been loving on. I hope you've been loving on yourself and others, and how you've really been embodying that, which is beautiful. I also want to ask you all, first remind you all that if you have questions, send those questions in to truthsunday@celebrationsc.org. And as we are moving into the final chapters of this book, one of the things that we're going to be doing in the closing week is we want to highlight and share. There's so many wonderful prosperity reports. Of course, we're seeing a lot in the prosperity circle, but there's so many more of you that are not in the prosperity circle. And there's so many more of you that want to tell your story about how this masterclass has impacted you. So I want you to think about where you were back in May. Right? Before we started this prosperity masterclass. Before this began in June, what was going on in your mind, what was going on in your life, and then think about all of the powerful, amazing things that have come forth in, through, and as your life as a result of your being willing to put some of these simple practices in place. Just your willingness to even show up each and every week to this masterclass and fill up your heart and your mind with prosperity principles so that you can embody them. We want to hear your story. We want to hear how this masterclass has impacted your life, and we want to be able to share that with the wider community. And that's something that we're going to be doing as we close out this masterclass for 2025. But of course, there's more to talk about. So let's get into it. Let me put the book on the screen. There we go. And so we are in chapter 10, Prosperity Through Divine Restoration. And there's so much goodness in this chapter. I think in many ways, this might be the most healing chapter. And, I think where a lot of what we've been studying, excites you and you get turned on because, oh, this person manifested this money and, oh, I can attract a lover and this, that, and the other. And that's beautiful and wonderful. I think this chapter right here is one that really hits the heart, and it's one that can transform some things for you in a way that you had not considered when you entered the conversation about prosperity.
It's the chapter that makes all the other chapters possible.
Yeah. Real talk.
So we don't want to tease you anymore about that, but it is. It's the reason why all those other chapters work.
Yeah. And so we're going to use this week and next week to really move through this chapter because we want you to get all of this, and we want to be able to offer some insight and support around all of this. Prosperity Through Divine Restoration, Chapter 10. One of the least known ways of demonstrating prosperity is that of dwelling on the idea of divine restoration. Excuse me. If you could trace back in memory the cause of the unhappy experiences in your life, you would doubtless discover that most experiences of ill health, financial difficulties, and human relations problems were related to a belief in loss. All of us have felt that at certain times in our life we lost something, and that because of that loss, we have had hard experiences. You often hear people say, my problem began when I lost my husband or wife, when I lost my health, when I lost my business, when I lost my good reputation. Mail that comes to me from around the world reveals that the one writing usually feels their problems began because of some loss in their life. A former business executive who now has financial and health problems feels his troubles began when he lost his fiancée to another man many years ago. An unhappy woman feels that all her problems of ill health, financial lack, and personal unhappiness stem from the fact that she was born prematurely 50 years ago. Her belief that the loss of another month in her mother's womb hurt her chances for a good life has led her from one problem to another ever since. Loss of parents or loss of love in childhood causes many a problem-ridden person to cling to those problems years later.
Let's take a breath and let that settle in. She's not blaming the person for that belief. She's saying there's a connection because, for example, the woman who believed that because she had one less month, she was born premature, that set the trajectory of her life. That's the kind of thinking that we're talking about, that loss of something.
Yeah. And it's the belief in loss.
Yes.
It's not the act of the loss.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's like, I'm reminded of Dr. Gabor S. Mate when he talks about trauma, right? Trauma is not the thing that happened, the factual event. It's what we believe about ourselves as a result of what happened, what we believe about our world, what we believe we deserve or are worthy of because of, or not worthy of because of what happened.
Right.
Right. And so often, we use these terms and these phrases, right, where we talk about, fear, doubt, and worry, and lack and limitation, right? And so we just talk about lack and limitation, and we all know that we don't want any lack and limitation. But this is what we're getting at. See, the lack of limitation is a belief in loss. And many of us, it's so easy for it to happen. Health diagnosis, the loss of a parent, right? A failure of a business or the failure of a marriage. And then that sets this point, this marker in our minds that we then believe that had that thing been different, had that thing not happened, we would be happy, we would be prosperous, we would be this, we would be that.
And I'm glad we're stopping here to talk about this because, as PG just said, we're not saying that the experience didn't happen. No one is negating that experience happened. And if they are, you don't need to talk to them.
Right.
We're not saying that. What
Right.
we're saying is what you believe happened as a result of that experience kind of gets stuck. It's kind of like if there was a record, maybe I'm dating myself, and it gets stuck in that groove and it keeps playing that same groove over and over, consciously or unconsciously. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. The thought of loss, lodged in the conscious and subconscious phases of the mind, causes many, perhaps most, of life's difficulties. So there's the metaphysics of it. The thought of loss, not the event of loss. And this is where metaphysics is so beneficial to the world, right? This is where New Thought Principles is so beneficial to the world. The thought that we have about the event is what then creates the next experience and on and on and on in our lives. But we can always change that thought, and then we can change the experience. And that thought is lodged consciously and subconsciously. So you might be hearing this now, and consciously you're like, oh no, I don't think that had anything to do with any unwanted experiences. But you may have a subconscious program that's running the show. And so this is an opportunity to bring awareness to it, loving awareness, so that we can heal it and set ourselves free.
I'm so glad that we said loving awareness. This is not about beating ourselves up, right? I mean, there are those people in New Thought that when you discover a thought, they use it from a judgmental place, like, "Oh, you shouldn't have thought that." That's not what this is about. You have the power to choose whatever thought once you become aware, and you bring compassionate consistency to changing it. That's what we're talking about. That's the empowering position.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing how literally the thought of loss manifests itself in the little as well as the big experiences of life. I once knew a school teacher who was constantly losing things: items of clothing, personal effects, car and house keys, school books from which she taught, etc. She often said, "Everything has gone wrong in my life since I lost my husband." I've heard people say that, right, after the transition of a loved one, right? And out of their mouths, they've affirmed this belief that, well, everything has gone wrong. People, joke about it now, and it's not helpful. Things ain't been right since Prince died, right? Things ain't been right since Kobe died, right?
Right.
We all get the joke, but that belief is perpetuating something that we don't want.
Right. And the subconscious mind can't determine or decide, excuse me, the validity or the humor behind the thought. It just takes the thought and creates from the thought. And if you keep the thought going long enough, it just keeps creating and creating and creating. Right. And so again, no judgment. This information should empower you because now you have a reason why.
Yep. Years previously, her husband had divorced her, leaving her with small children to rear alone. This she had done successfully, but in the process, she had lost her health. Conversation with her quickly revealed that she still suffered the thought of severe loss, that she had never forgiven her husband for leaving her with children to rear alone. This thought of loss had reflected itself as loss of health, as lack of any attempt to establish a happy life in another marriage, and as the almost daily loss of various items in her workaday world. When she learned how to invoke the decree of divine restoration, she was gradually able to rid her mind of the belief in loss. She regained her health, moved to another part of the country, and began a new life, free from the daily agitation of losing household and personal items.
Because they were no longer in her vibration. That energy of losing things wasn't in her vibration. Again, we're not saying that we don't experience grief. We must move through the grief process around whatever it is.
Yep.
But it's also the awareness that as you're doing that, you're not solidifying the feeling tone of loss forever.
Exactly. And if your mind is asking, well, how? Well, how? We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Anyway.
A professional woman had lost her husband through death. From that time on, she frequently got lost when driving her car. Road maps and instructions did not seem to help. One day she realized that she was losing her way on the highway because she still harbored the thought of loss emotionally. As she began calling on the law of divine restoration, she felt led to make a wheel of fortune, see chapter 4, for the way of life she truly desired, rather than continuing to dwell on past losses. The act opened the way to new work in a new location, which in turn led to a happy new life for her. Incidentally, the decree, "There is no loss in spirit," the original article or its divine equivalent now manifests, is a fine affirmation which countless people have used for lost items with good results. If you all have heard me tell the story about Reverend Johnny Coleman, this is where I first learned this affirmation. As she affirms it, nothing is lost in spirit.
Nothing is ever lost. Nothing is lost.
Right?
Ever.
Ever. Right? Not money, not houses, not lovers, not clothes, nothing. Right? And she gave that affirmation to a little girl who had lost an item of clothing, and ultimately she was able to get that back. Nothing is lost in spirit. Right? There is no loss in spirit. The original article or its divine equivalent now manifests. Write that down. If you didn't already write it down, take notes.
This should be in your top 5. This should be in your top 5
right.
from the book.
And this is something you're going to want to draw on for the remainder of your time here on planet Earth.
And if you think about it, I'm going to use myself as an example here. If I stayed in the energy of ill health, no matter where my health is and is in between or fully restored, if I keep this momentum, nothing is ever lost. The time that I've spent in ill health wasn't a loss. The time, the money, the resources, whatever it was, wasn't a loss, because the health as an equivalent, divine health, has to be given to me. So I'm using myself as an example because I've been very vocal about my own health journey on purpose. So that you see it can apply to anything. Your health isn't lost. Yes, you might have to do things differently or rely on medication or whatever it is to help you get into alignment with perfect health for you. But that time, don't beat yourself up about it.
Right.
Love yourself and know that you're here and that this flow of divine equivalent is happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's more related to that in the chapter.
Yes, it's coming.
A merchant who had lost a family ring of great sentimental value found it 2 years later at his sister-in-law's house after using this decree. A schoolboy found his lost wallet with his dollar bill in it a year after he had lost it on a rainy day in the mud near his school. Both he and his mother had affirmed for a year that there was no loss in spirit and that the wallet or its equivalent would be returned to him. Now, I love that too, or its equivalent. See, sometimes that's where we get hung up, right? Because we're like, it has to look this way, it has to happen this way. And actually, it could be, the equivalent could be something better. The word loss means destruction. This is powerful teaching right here. The word loss literally means destruction. If you go to Webster's, that's the very first definition, destruction and ruin. That's the definition of loss. So think about it now. When you affirm loss, when you affirm, I lost this, I lost that, or, right, you're affirming destruction and ruin, right? So here's another, just a nudge to maybe think about relanguaging those things, right? The word loss literally means destruction, and the thought of loss held in the mind is certainly a destructive one. If you cling to the thought of loss, it will ruin your health, take away your prosperity and destroy your peace of mind as well as personal happiness. This is also important, metaphysics. The thought in mind takes away, not God.
Yes, I was going to say that.
The thought in mind takes away, not the devil. The thought in mind takes away, not some demon. The thought in mind takes away, not some other trickster God, right? It is done unto us according to our beliefs.
And that's why the idea from Byron Katie, when I believe my thoughts, I suffer. And if the thought that I'm believing is around loss, it causes great suffering. And there's no need, and it ain't God doing it.
If you have problems of long standing which your prayers have not resolved, check to see if you are not holding to the destructive thought of loss. Here's another wonderful thing, right? I hope you've gotten this throughout this text. One of the things that's important as you're walking this path and as you're using these principles, right? It's not like, oh, everything is magic and it just works. A metaphysician is a scientist, right?
Yes.
And so a scientist has a theory or a hypothesis and tries to work it out, or has been told that something could happen in a certain way. And so they try to do it and figure out what's the combination that works. And can it work a different way or can it work another way? Well, does it
under
work?
all circumstances.
Right. Yeah. Under these temperatures, right. Under these conditions. So it's absolutely normal. You can be a prosperous person, a metaphysician, and manifested and demonstrated all kind of wonderful things. That you can be in a place where you have a problem of long standing and prayers and other things have not been working. Check in. Am I holding on to any destructive thoughts of loss? Right? This is a way to open up your awareness so that then you can use any number of other tools to shift and change that thought because you know how to do that, right?
It releases all of the self-judgment
Yes.
and the self-doubt in that way.
Yeah.
Now that you can create a direct cause and effect relationship, now that you can test these things and find out what's working and what's not.
You are probably relating those problems to a time in your experience when you seem to lose something or someone. You have probably been blaming that thing or person you feel you lost as the cause of all of your problems. Since you have held to the thought of loss, you have also held to the problem it caused. So the thought of loss has continued to haunt you, bringing increased destruction and apparent loss into your life. And when she says you held on to the problem it caused, one of the things about, PY alluded to this, the way the mind works, there's only now in the realm of mind. So if you're consciously or unconsciously still holding on to a past loss and that tape is still playing, then you must experience the fruit of that. You must experience something that reflects that reality over and over and over and over and over again, because there's only now in the mind. This is why we're very deliberate and stand at guard at the gateway of our minds in the now with thoughts that are beneficial, that are loving, that are affirming of that which we desire to experience in the world.
And that's also actually good news, because no matter what you've thought in the past, this is your now moment to think differently, to choose again, as the Course in Miracles says beautifully.
Yeah.
The moment you become aware, I'm aware in this moment that I want to choose a new thought. I choose it now. It sets the tone. It creates the vibration from this point forward.
Right.
And the only way the old energy comes back is if you think the old thought now. It's simplistic in the I be here now, but it's real because that's how it works.
Right. And so then you do use everything from part one of this book to reinforce, to support you in continuing to choose what it is that you want to be, do, and have, that you want to think, and that you want to implant in your subconscious mind now.
And we're not so vigilant that we beat ourselves up, that we're like, oh, what did I just think? What did I get that. And I remember that phase. What we realize is it's the collective. Where was your vibration? Where has it been? Now I get to choose where to set it from this point.
Yep.
And every time I become aware, I become compassionately aware.
Yeah. A powerful way to overcome the thought of loss and its consequences is to remind yourself of this great truth. There is no loss in spirit. You cannot lose your good. When it seems you have lost your good, it is because your good has changed form. There's another principle, y'all. See, again, we use these statements because our last sermon series on the law of abundance, I said to y'all, I think that the sermon was, there's always something, right? That something can never become nothing, and nothing can ever become something. The beauty of life is that there's always something. In other words, many times when we think we have lost something or we're experiencing loss, it has just changed form because there's always something. Nothing can only bring nothing. So if there was a thing that existed, it just changed and transformed. This is why it's not just, being spiritual to say someone transitioned, right? When someone leaves their earthly body, it's literally true. They've changed form. That's all. And when we can understand that, then that gives us the opportunity, as you've heard us talk about many times when it comes to transitions, and anyone, if you're moving and dealing with the transition of a loved one, go to our YouTube playlist, look for the series Life After Life, because we talk a lot about this there. You have the opportunity to enter into a new relationship with your loved one in their new form. So this, oh my goodness, I know this has just literally changed something for somebody right now. Like I can see and feel the switch that just flipped. I want to read it again, and I'll keep going in that. There is no loss in spirit. You cannot lose your good. When it seems you have lost your good, it is because your good has changed form. Reminds me of, for those that love the Christian stories, right? Why do you seek the living among the dead? Right? When they go to the tomb and Jesus isn't there, and the gardener's like, why are you seeking the living? Change of form. That's what that was talking about. Remember that there can be no loss in any phase of nature. The elements of nature merely change form. When your good seems to leave you to fly out the window, let it go. That is good you have outgrown. Then watch for new good to come in the door. If somebody planted an apple seed, you wouldn't see the seed anymore. And imagine you would never cry and lament, oh no, I lost my apple seed. Meanwhile, the apple seed is doing all kinds of wonderful things, ultimately becoming a tree. It has changed form. The apple seed is gone. It's literally not a seed anymore. It will never be a seed, that seed anymore, right? You can't get it back. So you could live in a false awareness of loss. Meanwhile, that seed is transformed and multiplied. Just as it is true in nature, so it is true in, through, and as your life. That's the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. So as you can appreciate that principle with something as simple and seemingly insignificant as an apple seed that becomes the tree, right? You lose the seed so that you can gain the tree and all that the tree brings and benefits us. So it is true with everything, because everything simply changes form. We don't lose it.
Yeah. We told you this chapter is full, and that's why it's going to take 2 weeks. And we hope that as we move through it at this pace, you write down your questions, because I'm sure there's questions out there, but PY, what about? And PG, what about? That's great. We want to hear your questions. You can bring them to God Talk, or you can definitely email us your questions, because we want you to take away from this chapter in this book how life really works.
Yeah. If a flower is cut from a rose bush, you do not say, there will be no more roses. Instead, the bush will grow and roses will bloom again because the roots have not been destroyed. God gives the increase. The word restore means to make beautiful again.
I love this for so many reasons. Personal reasons, core philosophy reasons. I love it.
I'm affirming this right now for the United States of America. There is no loss in spirit. Let's make America beautiful again. And through the right attitude about periods of loss, you can restore or make your life beautiful again. For this purpose, use often these prayers. There is no loss in spirit. I cannot lose my good. I have not lost my good, though I may have outgrown certain phases of it. My good has simply changed form. I now welcome my new good, which comes to me in God's wise and perfect ways. My good is now divinely restored. My life is made beautiful again.
Powerful.
My life
Because
is
she,
made
you see
beautiful.
in this affirmation, she's not denying that there's that sense that something's not there. She's also saying, but I really didn't lose. Something else is on its way. Something, because nature abhors a vacuum. I can't have that empty space. Something fills it.
I have not lost my good. Right. And for those of you dealing with the transition of someone, right, though, my loved one may have transitioned or changed form, my good, you might want to skip that line about outgrown certain phases. You didn't outgrow the person in your life, right? But they have transformed, they have transitioned, they have changed form, and I now welcome my new good.
And in the form of the new good, I mean, I think for myself, my grandmother, Louise, I loved her. She transitioned when I was 16. And for a long time, I carried the weight of her not physically being here. But our relationship has changed in that I always feel her. I'm always led by her. And if I need to see her, she comes to me in dreams. So the way we relate is deeper than it was when she was in physical form. And if I'm honest, a lot of what the 16-year-old held on to was how she died, not how she lived. It was seeing the pain of her death and being there to witness it and not being able to do anything about it that caused me to suffer for years and years and years. But it was when I gave that idea of loss up that it began to make sense, that I could know her in her new form and she could know me from the highest form. She could support me, encourage me, and remind me of who I am from where she is.
Decree of fulfillment blots out loss. You can resolve the thought of loss and its consequences by realizing that a belief in present and future fulfillment blots out previous beliefs in loss. This is exactly what we were just talking about earlier, right? What you believe presently transforms what you believed in the past.
Yeah.
The mind easily accepts the thought of fulfillment in the phrase divine restoration, since it is easy for the mind to think of past good as being restored in some appropriate form of present fulfillment. The prophet Joel was a master psychologist who pointed out how fulfillment can come through the degree of divine restoration, how one can bring into their life that which more than compensates for what has gone out. He pointed out this great success attitude to the people of Jerusalem 700 years before Jesus Christ, at a time when they were very discouraged. There had been a great plague of locusts, which had caused much suffering and loss of crops, so that the people were left without food to eat. God spoke through Joel and made the Hebrews this promise of divine fulfillment. I will restore to you the years which the swarming locusts have eaten. You shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God, which has dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never again be put to shame. The years which the locusts have eaten symbolize those periods in your life that have seemed empty of good or even filled with trouble. Right? This is a passage of scripture that preachers have been preaching from as a beacon of hope, right, over and over again. This idea of restoration, divine restoration. This is a universal spiritual principle. They are the periods you are inclined to look back on with bitterness, condemnation, or deep hurt. God promised to restore the Hebrews' good, and God will restore yours too, if you will change your thinking about those difficult periods. And see, there it is, right? So many of us have what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls an addiction to the familiar past. This is what keeps us operating in unforgiveness, right? Forgiveness is not for the the victimizer, right? Forgiveness is not for that person who committed some wrong. Forgiveness is the thing that supports us in changing our thinking about the difficult period. Because if we do not change our thinking about the difficult period, we hold ourselves hostage to that period and we are living it over and over and over again. Different actors, different bodies, different people show up. But if you're honest with yourself, and we both have seen this in doing one-on-one coaching, where we can work with someone and you can see that they're literally living the same story, but they don't realize it, right, because they're just different people, different bodies. It happened at work this time. Well, it was in my family this time. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, it was with my lover this time. Right. Oh, well, it was on the bus that time. Right. Well, it was on the airplane this time. So they seem to be different.
Right. And it's again, it's not showing up to punish you. Mm-mm. It's showing up to provide an opportunity to do it differently now, mm-hmm, to release whatever this sense of hurt is. Yeah, mm-hmm, we do. We see, mm-hmm, it all the time. Mm-hmm. And because you release the hurt doesn't mean you justify the behavior.
Right. We're not doing that.
We're not doing that. Mm-mm. We're giving ourselves the opportunity to be free.
Hello. Those periods of apparent loss of good can be restored to you with accrued interest when you begin to believe they can. Write the word gain over all the pages of your life. That's powerful. Mm-hmm. Think back on those painful periods and say to yourself, that was not loss. That was actually an experience of gain. I gained something good from that experience because I learned something from it. I grew through it. And so I pronounce it growth. I pronounce it gain. Mm-hmm. How to heal the unhappiness of the past. Like the people of Joel's time, you probably think you have years that the locusts have eaten. For you may have had years when you had no joy in living, no happiness, no peace. You may have had years of which you are ashamed. Most of us have.
Probably all of us have, if we want to be honest.
Yeah. Those are years you would like to forget or run away from. But you cannot forget them until you first restore them to their rightful place in your own thoughts and feelings. They cannot be shut out. They must be mentally and emotionally restored.
Absolutely.
That is why they stay with you and why you cannot forget them. They must be restored, made beautiful again, in your thinking as years of growth and learning, and therefore years of good, regardless of appearances.
Again, we're not saying that the experience was good. Mm-hmm. We're saying that the benefit that we are now operating from the perspective of gain. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In one sense, the past cannot be changed, which is true, factually, right?
Can't be changed.
But mentally and emotionally, the past can be lifted up and recognized as a time when you were growing into greater understanding and wisdom, a time that opened the way for you to experience greater good, right? This is true. The trauma that we've experienced, the event itself cannot be changed. Mm-hmm. But mentally and emotionally, what we think and feel about it and what we carry with us can be lifted up. And ultimately, it must be lifted up, right? And this is a word that we could speak this word from so many different perspectives. To my LGBTQ plus family, we could speak this word to all Black and brown souls, right? We could speak this word to women, right? We can speak this word to marginalized communities around the planet, right? The past, the factual events cannot be changed. But what we're thinking and what we're feeling about it must be lifted up.
Right. And that's that loop that people get stuck in. Well, if this would have been different, mm-hmm, but it wasn't. I mean, it almost sometimes it sounds a little impersonal or cold to say it that way, but it's not. It's really empowering, because as long as I keep wishing for a past that's already gone, I'm never going to live fully now.
Yep.
Never.
Nope.
And I've gone through years in that way myself. Mm-hmm. Well, if I hadn't dated him, then this wouldn't have happened. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know that for sure.
Right.
I don't know that it wouldn't happen in another relationship. Right. But what do I know for sure now? I learned what I do not like or do not desire in relationship. Yeah. And now I get to create it.
Yeah. That's it. You would not be the person you are today. You would not have the love, the understanding, the maturity, the depth, the compassion, the soul-searching desire for more of God's goodness in your life if you had not had the past experiences you have been condemning.
And this is so powerful because many times, first of all, we are operating from the perception that we're broken. And then we look for ways or unconsciously create circumstances and ways in which that is being fulfilled. And then we lock into that way of judging ourselves if this hadn't happened then. But we never get to the point of, but what if I'm whole? And what if I couldn't be here in this, physically in this place without moving there, without learning, without growing, without evolving myself? What if, because right, when we come to these teachings, we want to change everything once we realize. We want everything changed. But we don't realize that, oh, without Yolanda, that was 20 or 12 or 30. I'm not going to go past that. 40. I couldn't be here now. So I honor all of the Yolandas that have been.
Yeah.
I take her wisdom with me as I create from here.
Yeah, I just highlighted that. I mean, that's something that you could really read to yourself every day. You would not be the person you are today. You would not have the love, the understanding, the maturity, the depth, the compassion, the soul-searching desire for more of God's goodness in your life if you had not had the past experience you have been condemning. And so then those can become the springboard.
It's almost like write those on the side of the paper. Now what do I want?
Right.
Write this on this. This is what was. What do I want now? And that way you don't condemn it. You just see it as information to create now.
Yep. Out of the past, you have grown, unfolded, and expanded your understanding and your world. So do not try to run away from the past. Do not condemn. Do not condemn it. Just try to put it in its rightful place in your own thinking. Those experiences were for good because through them you came forth into a larger place in your understanding. Release all anxiety or condemnation of yourself or others about your past.
Please highlight that. Just release all condemnation of yourself. You might not even be to the others yet, but can you start with yourself?
Yep. As Joseph said about his own unhappy past and those who caused it, after he had come through it to a larger place in his understanding, as well as to glorious good in his world, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. Just as God is in your present, so was God in your past.
How did you get here without it?
God was with you when you were having the experiences you now feel were wasted. God was there helping you grow, leading you through those experiences, whether God seemed to be or not, toward fulfillment. If God was with you, bringing you into greater good, how could the past have been evil, futile, or wasted?
Y'all, please, I don't know. I hope I feel like we're touching into something. I feel like we're healing something for people right now.
On a deep level.
On a deep level.
And here's the thing. You read that and you might be thinking, well, if God was with me, why didn't God intervene? That's not how God operates. So you got to heal your idea that God is Superman, right? Comes in and saves the day. That's not who and what God is. God is the presence and power. God is an action word, a verb, right? And so the presence is available and is always responding to the molds that we have created through our thought, right? But we must understand and know that there is no spot where God is not, that God is only right here, right now, with us then and with us now. And we have the opportunity to shift and change, right? We are our own superhero, right? We are our own savior in truth.
Absolutely. Right? And as I shift my perspective about the past, God had to be there. Those situations, of course God was there. Of course. That divine infinite intelligence was there. That love was there, unconditionally loving, there.
So let the years that the locust has eaten now be restored to you. They were the way your soul took to reach your present level of understanding as a child of God. And we might end on this next section here. A period of gain, not loss. According to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, Joel symbolizes an attitude or feeling of dominion. Just a note here on the student level, the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. This was written by Charles Fillmore, something that's available. You can find on Amazon, anywhere that you buy your spiritual text. It's a wonderful text to have, particularly if you're reading the Bible and you want to understand some symbolism from a metaphysical lens, right? That text is wonderful. Joel symbolizes an attitude or feeling of dominion. Through his promise of restoration to the people of Jerusalem, Joel was trying to help them gain a feeling of dominion over their desolate circumstances. Right? This also reminds me of the ancient philosopher Epictetus, who, if you don't know his story, was born, he was enslaved, and was able to move through that experience differently than others. And he was asked, what is it? What are you doing? And he began to talk about the fact that he recognized that while I may not be able to change the circumstances of my experience, I can change what I think, and I have control, dominion, over what I think about who I am and what's going on. He ultimately was able to free himself and became a philosopher teaching these principles, right? So this is ancient, right? This is ancient wisdom, right? So again, this idea, he was trying to help them gain a feeling of dominion over their desolate circumstances. He knew that when a person feels in control of desolate circumstances, they are then able to gain the blessing from them so that they no longer control them. And that's the goal. That's really the goal of life. In some ways, the goal of this New Thought path. Because there will be desolate circumstances. There will be unwanted circumstances. There will be challenging circumstances. There will be fools in the White House. Right? There's stuff that's going to happen. And who or what are we giving power to in our own minds?
Absolutely.
Right? One of the things Prince said many, many years ago, when he was given an award for his early work in the internet and being very innovative. And he was like, the mind is the last frontier. And like, that's where folks are trying to place the control now, right? And so it's important that your thinking, you are able to control what you think about circumstances so that you're not giving up your power to anything external to you.
Absolutely. And from that place of power, then you can make choices.
Yeah, there you go.
With a clear mind. You don't have what I call this fear filter just over top of everything you see. It's almost like this haze or whatever, one of these filters that we put on our pictures. It begins to just be laid over top of everything you see and how you perceive it and how you talk about it. But when you remove it, then everything looks clear, and then you can make choices.
See what's really going on. Those desolate years can be restored when you also begin to realize the great truth pointed out by Emerson in his essay Compensation, where he states that for everything you lose, you gain something. Remembering this, you can invoke the law of divine restoration. Stop dwelling on apparent losses in your life and start looking for the growth and gain that came through them. For every loss, there has been a gain. So drop the loss and take the gain. Right? Again, this is wisdom that you've heard from many different places and circumstances, that you have the opportunity to look at the same situation one of two ways. One is beneficial and one is destructive. When the thought of apparent loss seems to haunt you, instead of accepting it as loss, say to yourself, this was not loss. This was gain. I now drop the loss and take the gain. Another way to restore the years the locusts help themselves to is by reminding yourself that God can give so much to the present moment that it seems even to fill the emptiness of the past. This is a wonderful form of divine restoration. A housewife and mother once proved this to her own satisfaction when she received a letter from her estranged father, whom she had not seen in years. He asked to visit her and meet her husband and children. There had been much bitterness between her mother and father when she was a child, which had resulted in their divorce. Upon hearing from her father again, all the bitterness of the past welled up within her.
Of course.
Sounds familiar, yes?
Yeah.
But as she prayed for guidance, she got a feeling of peace about having him come for a visit. She decided it was perhaps by divine appointment that he desired to do so. When her father arrived, he proved to be the best house guest she had ever had. They laughed, talked, and experienced a mutual companionship they had not previously known. Her father was especially congenial with her husband and children. It proved a soul-healing experience for all concerned. Indeed, it was as though their present happiness made up for the emptiness of the past. Then her father went on his way, and 6 months later she received word that he had passed away in a distant city. How glad she was that the lost years had been restored between them in their last visit together.
Everybody take a breath. Let's take a breath in that.
Yes,
So
yes,
much
yes.
goodness, so much healing today.
We can feel it.
We can definitely feel it.
So, we of course want you to come back to the beginning of this chapter, read. You can read to the end. And so as you read it, you're like, I wonder what they're going to say next week. We are going to, because we think that this chapter is so beneficial and there's so much healing available, we're going to continue this chapter next week. If you have questions, send the questions in, the Truth Sunday at celebrationsc.org, because there is the opportunity for you to tap into divine restoration, right? Heal your heart, heal your mind, heal your past, collapse time, and experience prosperity in your life right here and now. And so in this moment, it is time for giving. And it's very easy to give at CSC. You can go to our website, celebrationsc.org/give. You can text your dollar amount to 347-744-9500. There's a $10 minimum to text to give. And also, you can go to the Church Center app. You can just use that QR code or go to the App Store or Google Play Store, download the Church Center app. You can give there. If you want to use Apple Pay, which is very convenient, you can use Apple Pay there in the Church Center app. Whichever mode or means you choose to give, all good, right? And we want to make that as simple and safe and secure as possible for each and every one of you. But what's most important is to understand that as you give, you receive. Wherever you are right now, by yourself or with somebody, it doesn't matter. Just affirm, as I give,
I
receive.
I receive.
And what does that mean? That means that the thought that's behind my giving, the thought that's informing my giving, the thought that's guiding my giving, the thought that's supporting my giving, the thought that is wrapped around my giving is what I will actually be receiving. And so it's wonderful as we are in this mode of the masterclass and open at our mind to prosperity. We understand that prosperity is our birthright. We understand that that God is our supply and abundance of everything now, right? We understand this truth. And so we're giving from that unending source that is God, which is abundant and continues to replenish and restore and replenish and restore and replenish and restore. So there is no need to give in fear. There is no need to give in worry. It replenishes and restores. And so we're not trying to make up for last week with this week and catch up from last year, right? We're not trying to do any of those things. We're not worried about getting in trouble.
Or getting our name on the list.
Right. As you give, you receive. And so when you give from that place and you give from that consciousness, then you can affirm this thing with joy and with power. And I want you to speak it out loud and clear. All the money that I circulate.
All the money that I circulate
Returns to me multiplied.
returns to me multiplied.
In a never-ending cycle.
In a never-ending cycle
of increase. And enjoyment.
And enjoyment.
To that we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is.
So it is.
And so it is.
So it is.
Yes, yes. Well, we love and appreciate each and every one of you. We continue to be excited about life because it just keeps getting better and better all the time. We are excited about CSC because it just keeps getting better and better all the time. We're excited about you because we see that your life keeps getting better and better all the time. And so we want you to have an amazing rest of your Sunday and even better week. Join us on Wednesday for the Momentum Prayer Call at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then let's get back here on Sunday as we continue to talk about prosperity through divine restoration. Again, we see and know, we see in your comments some beautiful things are being shared, and light bulbs are happening and healing is happening. We know there's many in our community that have been dealing with recent transitions and not so recent transitions. And so this is doing something powerful on a molecular chemical level that is moving you into an experience of wholeness. So live in that wholeness, live in that awareness, reinforce it. Yeah.
Yes, live in it now.
Yeah.
Because it's here now.
It's here
Because
now.
you're whole now.
Absolutely. All right. So y'all have a good day, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye for now.